Hello, whisperers. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy tonight's tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps more than you know. Now, dim the lights, and let's begin tonight's story. I was dropped into Fort Wren 30 minutes before sundown. The wind off the Colorado Ridge was slicing sideways, cold enough to feel like a blade through my jacket. Snow clung to the edges of the chain-link perimeter, drifted high in spots, untouched. No movement, no patrols, just a dead base. My boots hit the concrete with a dull thud, and the Black Hawk peeled away without ceremony. No wave from the pilot, no good luck, just the chop and fade of rotors and the long silence that followed. I stood alone at the edge of a forgotten military outpost, and I could already feel it watching me. The buildings were half collapsed, barracks, mess hall, comms tower, each one gutted from the inside out. Torn steel, clawed drywall, floors cracked open like something had forced its way up from below. I moved slow, rifle tucked tight against my shoulder. My HUD pulsed dim red inside my goggles, scanning for heat or motion. Nothing, not even birds. Inside the guard station, blood was frozen to the walls in wide arcs, thrown, not spilled. A coffee cup sat beside a jawbone on the desk, still full, still warm. Whatever happened here didn't just kill them. It stopped time. I found my first body in the armory hallway. A young soldier, no older than 20, slumped against the wall with his eyes wide open. No wounds, no blood, just frozen in place, lips parted, as if death took him mid-sentence. Heart attack, fear-induced? Possible. But the thing that chilled me wasn't his expression. It was what was written on the wall beside him. It mimics the voice of the last one it kills. I didn't want to know whose voice it was using now. I pushed deeper into the base, snow swirling through broken windows, the wind howling like a dying animal through collapsed ceilings. My boots crunched over shattered glass, spent shell casings, torn uniforms. In the mess hall freezer, I found a man still breathing, or I thought I did. He was half frozen to the wall, upper chest slashed open, eyes twitching. A flare gun clutched in one numb hand, fingers stuck to the metal. He whispered something when I got close. I leaned in. His lips moved, but the sound didn't come from his mouth. It came from under the floor. I stepped back instantly, weapon up. That's when the flare gun dropped, clattering to the tile, and the freezer floor shuddered, like something massive shifting beneath it. Then, a groan of steel, a crack of tile. The ground caved in beneath the freezer, pulled down like a sinkhole, and something moved in the dark, fast. I saw flashes of limbs, white skin, too many arms. I sprinted, barely made it through the exit door, as the entire wall behind me imploded. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I'd seen enough monsters to know when I was being hunted. And this one, it wanted me to hear it coming. I didn't stop running until I was 2 buildings away, tucked behind a half-collapsed munitions depot. My chest burned from the cold air. My ribs ached from the fall, and my fingers were still twitching from adrenaline. But I was alive. For now. I hunkered low, clicked my shoulder cam on, and transmitted what little footage I'd gotten. Grainy thermal shapes in a wall of static. Probably wouldn't make it out. Didn't matter. I took inventory. 2 mags of phosphorus-tipped rounds, 1 combat knife, 2 proximity mines, a standard-issue shock net. No backup. The wind picked up again, but underneath it, I could still hear it. The thing, scraping beneath the concrete. Not like claws, more like fingers. I ducked into a maintenance corridor and started setting charges. Tight hallways, corners, one way in. If it wanted me, it'd have to come through here. I needed it close, needed to see what I was dealing with. The initial glimpse wasn't enough. What I'd seen didn't line up with any of the government-classified cryptids. This wasn't on any database, which meant they either didn't know what it was, or they covered it up. I planted the shock net across the entrance and retreated into the shadows. Waited. The quiet stretched. Then, a sound, not the thing. A voice. Hello? It was a woman. Broken. Desperate. Please, somebody help me. It was the same voice from the last transmission out of Fort Wren. I stayed frozen, finger on the trigger. Then came the next line, but it wasn't part of any plea. It's wearing his face now. That's when the voice shifted, warped, doubled back on itself into something choked and wrong, not human. A low dragging sound echoed through the corridor, followed by bare feet slapping wet concrete. It stepped into view. 9 feet tall, gaunt, pale like something bleached by centuries underground. No eyes, just skin where they should have been. Its mouth hung open, not in a snarl, but wide, slack, like it was trying to breathe me in. And then I saw them. Arms, human arms. Dozens. Sprouting from its ribs like broken wings. Some still twitching. Some hanging limp. One of them held a dog tag. I stepped into view and fired. The phosphorus rounds lit it up. First shot took it in the shoulder. Second in the chest. It shrieked in every voice it had stored, like a radio stuck between dying stations. It lunged. I dove back just as it triggered the trip line. The shock net flared to life, 40,000 volts lashing up its frame, lighting the hallway like a lightning strike. It spasmed, slammed against the walls, tore the paneling apart, then collapsed. I didn't wait. I ran up and fired again, point blank, straight into its skull. It twitched, but it didn't die. It regrew, bone shifting under skin, flesh re-knitting, and then it laughed. Not with its own voice, with mine. I emptied the rest of the mag into its throat and ran, left the depot behind, and dove into the snow outside, running toward the comms tower. The base wasn't a hunting ground. It was a nest. This wasn't just some predator. It was something worse, and it was learning. The comms tower was dead. Shredded wires hung like veins from the walls. Every screen was shattered. Blood smeared across the keyboard in thick, dried strokes. I tried anyway, flipped breakers, rebooted systems, pounded the transmitter. All I got was static. And then the smell hit me. Rot. Fresh. I turned slowly, rifle raised, just in time to hear the floor groan behind me. Not from weight, from pressure. Something pushing up beneath it again. I didn't wait. I bolted through the maintenance hatch and into the understructure. The sublevels of Fort Wren were never meant for people. Bare steel bones, pipes thick with frost, ceiling barely high enough to crawl. Everything below the surface was rust and condensation and silence. Except I wasn't alone. I followed the trail of bodies, shredded uniforms, bones stripped of meat. Some chewed, some crushed. No drag marks, no bullet wounds, just discarded pieces. And then I found its nest. In the base of an old blast tunnel, I found them. Dozens of corpses stacked like offerings, arms intertwined, heads bent at wrong angles, their faces peeled back like it had been studying them, reconstructing them, trying to wear them. The thing wasn't just killing, it was building something. I planted the last proximity mine and backed into a side shaft. Only one way out. If it came for me, it'd have to come through this tunnel. And it did. I felt it before I saw it. The temperature dropped. The lights dimmed. A vibration ran through the floor like thunder. And then the sound, my own voice, whispering from the dark. Help me. I raised my rifle and didn't say a word. It crawled into view, bone white, soaked in blood, arms dragging behind it like wet roots. Its face had changed again. Gone now were the rows of teeth. In their place, it wore a twisted imitation of the soldier I found in the freezer. But the mouth? Still mine. I fired. The mine exploded behind it, filling the shaft with fire and shrapnel. The blast threw both of us back. I slammed into the steel wall, ears ringing, blood in my mouth. My rifle was gone, arm half numb, but the thing, it was crawling out of the flames, burning, screaming, still alive, still laughing. So I did the only thing left. I grabbed a broken rebar from the debris and ran straight at it, screaming. It lashed out, cut deep through my vest, but I didn't stop. I drove the rebar through its throat, then jammed it up into its skull. It shrieked with every voice it had. Hundreds, men, women, children, all screaming at once. It died slow, flailing, twitching, regenerating and dying all at once, until it finally stopped moving. I sat in the blood and heat for what felt like hours. When I finally climbed out of the ruins, the sun was rising. The sky above Fort Wren was bleeding orange through the clouds. The extraction chopper arrived 30 minutes later. A woman in a hazmat suit stepped out, clipboard in hand. She didn't speak for a while, just looked at me, looked at the base. Then, any survivors? I shook my head. Just the thing that made the bodies. She wrote that down. You weren't supposed to go in alone, she said quietly. I didn't answer. She tried again. There's gonna be a next time. I met her eyes. The ground's still moving, I said. Burn it. Salt it. And if anything walks out of that hole, I chambered a fresh round into my sidearm. Send me back in.